What do you do when someone walks away from your life without explanation and then reappears like nothing ever happened? No apology, no understanding of the silence they left behind, just a casual hey, as if your heart was on pause, waiting. It hurts, doesn't it? Not just because they left, but because a part of you still wanted them to come back. Carl Jung once said that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But what if only you changed? What if the transformation left you more conscious while they remained asleep? His message lands in your inbox. Your heart stirs, not with joy, but confusion, maybe even longing. Because for a moment, just one moment, it feels like hope. But the question is not why he came back. The real question is, why would you respond? This isn't just a message, it's a test of your growth, a mirror held up to your healing, a chance to choose you. So before you answer, but before you fall into old patterns, let's pause, let's breathe, let's go deeper. Because Carl Jung didn't teach us to reject our feelings, he taught us to understand them, to watch them, to learn from them, to let them guide us inward, not back into the same wounds. If someone disappeared, it means they chose disconnection, and when they return, with no explanation, no depth, no acknowledgement, that is not a connection, that is a loop. And loops, Jung would say, are part of the unconscious, habits of the heart we haven't healed, patterns we still repeat because we haven't integrated the lesson yet. So how do you respond? With anger, with silence, with love, or with the new version of yourself, the one who doesn't chase validation but protects her peace? This video isn't about revenge, it's about response, not to them, but to you. You're about to discover the psychology behind this reappearance, the symbolic meaning of ghosting and return, and most importantly, the emotionally powerful way to respond that he won't see coming. Take a deep breath, let your heart settle, and stay with me till the end, because by the time we're done, you won't just have a text strategy. You'll have closure. Have you ever had someone vanish and then come back like nothing happened? Let's talk about it in the comments. Your story matters here. When a man disappears and then suddenly texts you again, it often has less to do with love and more to do with control, comfort, or curiosity. You see, Carl Jung believed that people are rarely conscious of why they act the way they do. They think they're making a decision, but it's usually the unconscious pulling the strings. So when he ghosts you, it might seem cold, but in truth, it's just emotional avoidance. And when he returns, it's not because he finally understands your worth. It's because something inside him became uncomfortable. Maybe he got lonely. Maybe someone else didn't work out. Maybe you suddenly stopped giving him energy. And he noticed. To him, the message might feel casual, but to you, it carries weight. Because you invested emotions, you felt hope, and now, here he is again. Like a storm cloud returning to skies that had finally cleared. But what he doesn't realize is that you've been evolving in the silence. Every tear, every restless night, every moment of confusion, it didn't break you. It reshaped you. So now the moment has arrived, and you're staring at that message, your fingers hovering over your phone. Should I respond? Let's pause here, not to overthink, but to reflect. Ask yourself, and be honest, why do I want to respond? Is it curiosity? Is it closure? Is it because part of me still hopes he's changed? Or is it because I want to prove something, that I'm over it, that I'm not bothered, that I'm still wanted? These are not judgments. These are invitations to know yourself better. Because how you respond tells you more about your own wounds than it does about him. Jung taught us about the shadow self, the parts of us we hide, deny, or suppress. And one of those shadows is the part of us that still craves validation from the person who abandoned us. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But healing means doing something different. It means not answering the wound, but answering the soul. And here's what your soul might be whispering: I deserve more than someone who only thinks of me in convenience. Because real love doesn't vanish when it's inconvenient. It doesn't need space to remember you. It fights for you, and it grows with you. So when he texts again, that isn't fate giving you another chance. It's life asking, are you ready to choose yourself this time? Have you ever felt tempted to reply just to prove you've moved on? You're not alone. Share your thoughts below. This space is yours, to be honest. Now let's look at what kind of responses align with your healing. Because silence isn't the only option. Sometimes the most powerful response is calm truth. Before we dive into the actual responses, pause for a moment and remind yourself you don't owe anyone access to you just because they remembered you. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So often we confuse their return with destiny, but sometimes it's just a pattern, a karmic loop that we're finally strong enough to break. Now, let's explore 3 ways you can respond, if you choose to, while still protecting your energy and honoring your growth. These aren't strategies to win him back. They're reflections of the powerful woman you're becoming. The clear boundary response: hi, I've done a lot of healing during your silence, and I'm no longer available for inconsistent energy. I wish you peace on your journey. This response isn't cold, it's clear. It's the voice of someone who knows her worth, someone who has felt pain but refuses to reopen the wound. You don't beg, you don't explain. You simply state a boundary. You say, I see you, but I choose me. And for someone who expected you to still be waiting, this kind of clarity will leave them speechless. The mirror response. It's interesting hearing from you now. Your silence spoke volumes. What made you reach out? This response doesn't accuse. It reflects. It gently holds a mirror up to him, forcing him to think about why he came back. Most people avoid these questions, but by asking calmly and directly, you show him this isn't the same version of you who used to stay quiet to keep the peace. You're not asking for closure. You're offering consciousness. Whether he answers honestly or not doesn't matter. The power lies in showing him that if he wants access to you, he must meet you with truth, and that alone will change the entire dynamic. The non-response. Silence as self-respect. Yes, sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence isn't passive. It's intentional. It's a statement that says, I have nothing left to give this dynamic. My peace is too sacred. This is the response that confuses him the most, because it gives him nothing to hold on to. No anger, no closure, no emotional reaction, just silence. Jung would describe this as stepping out of the collective pattern, breaking the cycle of reaction, and becoming a conscious creator of your emotional world. But silence isn't always easy, because a part of you may still want validation, closure, or revenge. You may want him to see the pain he caused, but here's the truth. If someone was able to disappear, they already saw your pain. They just didn't care enough then. Don't. Reopen yourself for someone who only remembered you when it suited them. Silence can be the most radical form of self-respect. Have you ever chosen silence over confrontation? Let me know in the comments. Your courage may inspire someone else right now. Now let's talk about the one response that frees you. There is one final response that isn't about him at all. It's about you, your healing, your liberation. And it sounds something like this. I spent time missing you. I spent nights wondering why you left. But I realized the answer was never yours to give. It was mine to discover, and now I know I was always enough. I just forgot for a while. You don't even have to send this. You can write it, whisper it, say it to the version of you that once waited by the phone, because freedom isn't found in what you send. It's found in what you no longer need. To say, you no longer need to be chosen by someone who once walked away. You are not someone's backup plan. You are not a second thought. You are not a pause in someone else's journey. You are the main character of your life. And the story goes forward, not backward. Carl Jung believed that we attract into our lives not what we want, but what we are, or more precisely, what we have yet to make conscious. So when someone disappears and then returns, it's often not a cosmic sign. It's not fate. It's a projection, a reflection of unresolved energy between you both. But here's the painful truth. He didn't come back because he finally understood you. He came back because something triggered his ego, not his heart. Maybe he saw you glowing from afar. Maybe your silence made him curious. Maybe he lost control of the emotional power he once held over you, and now he wants it back. You see, many people don't return for love. They return for comfort. The comfort of knowing someone still desires them. The comfort of being able to dip back into your energy without doing the real work to earn it. And that's the part we often ignore, because it feels good to be remembered. It feels hopeful to be wanted again. But real connection isn't about someone texting you after months of silence. It's about someone who never stopped showing up. Carl Jung called this the process of individuation, becoming whole, by integrating the parts of us that once chased, begged or longed for love in the wrong places. When you long for closure from the person who ghosted you, you're handing your healing back to them. But healing never comes from the one who broke you. It comes from the moment you decide, I no longer need their clarity to feel whole, because sometimes the most confusing thing you can do to someone who expects the old you is show up as the healed you, the version who doesn't explain, who doesn't overgive, who doesn't need them to understand in order to be free. Let that sink in. You don't need their permission to move on. You don't need their apology to heal, and you don't need their validation to be enough. You are already enough, and you always were, even when they didn't see it. Especially when they didn't see it. Have you ever gone looking for closure and left feeling emptier? Let's talk in the comments. Your honesty could be someone's lifeline today. Jung once said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. This return, this message, is your moment of awakening, not to reignite an old flame, but to remember who you are. When you stop reacting the way you used to, everything shifts. He may not show it right away. He may even double down, texting again, acting. Casual, pretending it was no big deal, but inside, he feels it. The shift, because your energy has changed. He expected the old version of you, the one who would melt just because he remembered you, the one who would ignore the pain just to feel wanted again, but instead, he meets a version of you that is grounded, whole, and calm. Not cold, just not cold. Clear, and that clarity is disarming. Carl Jung believed that people fear what they cannot control or predict. So when you don't give him the reaction he expects, you shake his sense of control. If you respond with silence, he might panic. If you respond with self-respect, he might chase harder. If you respond with softness and boundaries, he'll be forced to reflect on the truth of who you've become. And here's the powerful part. It's not about him. Your response isn't meant to change his mind. It's meant to protect your own peace. But psychology is funny that way, because the moment you pull your energy inward, the moment you stop performing to be wanted, is the moment your presence becomes more powerful than your attention. That's when he realizes you're no longer orbiting around his world. You've built your own. You've stopped explaining, stopped waiting, stopped hoping, and now he feels the emptiness. Not because you were needy, but because you were a source of kindness, attention, softness, depth. And when that source closes, a man is left with a mirror, forced to see what he lost. Jung would describe this as a psychic confrontation, when someone comes face to face with their unconscious behavior, and it causes discomfort, even if they can't name it. That discomfort, it's not your responsibility to soothe because you didn't create it. You simply stopped feeding the illusion. And now, he must sit in it. Have you ever responded with calm strength and watched everything change? Share your story below. Even a few words could inspire someone who needs courage today. You're not playing games. You're not trying to hurt him. You're just done betraying yourself. And whether he walks away again or tries to pull you back in, this time the difference is you know your worth. You've met the version of yourself who doesn't beg to be understood, who doesn't shrink for love, who doesn't accept half effort in the name of history, so no matter how he reacts, you've already won. There comes a moment in your healing journey when you realize you don't need revenge, you don't need closure, you don't even need the apology. You just need your peace back. Carl Jung taught us that the path to wholeness is not found by fixing the external, but by reclaiming the parts of ourselves we once gave away. So let's go back for a second. Back to the moment he disappeared, back to that aching silence, back to the questions you kept replaying in your mind. What did I do wrong? Was I not enough? Why did he leave without even saying goodbye? But what if the answers were never meant to come from him? What if those questions were only ever meant to lead you inward, to the parts of yourself you abandoned while chasing love? To the younger version of you who equated attention with worth? To the little girl inside who just wanted to be chosen completely? Jung would say, this isn't weakness. This is a sacred invitation, an opening into self-awareness. You see, the people who disappear from our lives often mirror the very parts of ourselves that we still struggle to accept. His vanishing act might have mirrored your fear of abandonment. His return may have mirrored your craving to feel desirable again. But you are not defined by who stays or who leaves. You are defined by the way you rise, the way you soften without breaking. The way you stop explaining yourself to people who were never ready to understand you. And here's the mindset shift that changes everything. You never needed him to validate your worth, because the love you were searching for was always meant to come from you. That longing, that ache, that deep pull to be seen, it's real, it's human. But it's also a doorway into the relationship you've been avoiding the most. The one with yourself, not the self you perform for others, but the self who sits quietly in the dark, waiting to be chosen by you, so when he texts again, it's not just a man reaching out, it's a moment, a mirror, a choice, to regress or to rise, to react or to reflect, to repeat or to rewrite. Have you had a moment where you finally chose yourself, even when it hurt? Tell us in the comments. Someone out there is still learning how. You see, healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet click of a blocked number. Sometimes it's the message you type but never send. Sometimes it's the way your breath stays steady, even when your phone lights up with his name, and whether you respond or not. That decision isn't about him. It's about the version of you are becoming. Carl Jung wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who someone else needs, not who someone returns to when they're bored, but who you are when no one is watching, and when you decide to finally love yourself the way you always deserved. So if he never replies again, you're still whole. If he apologizes and begs to come back, you're still whole. If he ghosted you twice and vanished forever, you're still whole, because the person you were always waiting for was never him. It was the woman who now stands in your mirror, braver, quieter, wiser, And finally, free. So now you know. That text, that hey, after weeks or months of silence, was never really about him. It was a turning point, a mirror, a moment for you. You could have replied in the old way, with longing, with hope, with the quiet ache of someone who just wants to be seen, and no one would have blamed you, but you didn't. Or maybe this time you won't, because now you know something deeper, that someone who disappears and then returns without explanation is not offering love. They're offering a cycle, and you've outgrown the cycle. Carl Jung taught that the soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is silencing the mind long enough to hear it. That's what this moment is. Not a test of how clever your reply can be, but a whisper from your soul saying, don't abandon yourself again. Whether you choose silence, a calm boundary, or a mirror that makes him confront himself, make sure your response comes from your wholeness, not your wounds, because no man, no text, no ghost-turned-messenger is worth giving away the peace it took you so long to build, and maybe you still miss him. That's okay. Healing doesn't erase the memory, it just loosens its grip. Maybe there's a version of you still waiting for a better ending. But here's something powerful. You can create that ending without ever hearing from him again, because healing isn't about what he does next. It's about what you do now. So take a breath, let go of the story where you weren't enough. Step into the one where you were always more than enough. He just wasn't ready to meet you there. And if this video helped you feel seen today, please don't keep that healing to yourself. Send this to someone who's staring at a text they don't know how to answer. Comment below, not just for you, but for every soul quietly scrolling, needing to feel less alone tonight. And if this message met you at the right time, let's keep growing together. Like, subscribe, and share your voice. Because somewhere out there, another version of you is still choosing silence over peace, still thinking closure comes from his next reply. But maybe she'll find this video and realize the real closure was her own awakening. You're not broken, you're becoming, and this time he won't see it coming, but you will.